Hey Facebook, how you doing? Alright, I think I'm walking into spiderwebs here, which is awesome. And try and find somewhere. Where I can at least sort of see the screen a little bit. That'll be good. Alright. Might even try going without the sunnies for a bit. Depends which way I go. No, I'll do that. Alright. Alright, good morning, good morning, good morning. So, I want to have a chat with you today about failure, right? So, here's the thing people forget when it comes to failure. Failure is the most important step in becoming successful at anything. It is so friggin' important, like the most important thing. Let me put it to you this way. If you don't know how to fail repeatedly, you will never succeed at anything. If you don't get really friggin' good at failing over and over and over and then picking yourself up and going again, then you're not going to get anywhere. It's it's really, really simple. I've kind of given away the whole magical point here right at the beginning, which is probably a bad idea, but who cares? It's what I'm doing. I'm giving it away. I've just told you, right? Failure is your number one step for becoming a success. It's as simple as that. The better you can get at failing repeatedly, at being comfortable with it, at learning from it and moving forward, the better you're going to get at it, right? So I'm sure you've heard that saying before that, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried, right? And that is part of it. People need to fail in order to get good at anything, right? So when it comes to your health and fitness, or whether you want to lose fat or something, you're not going to succeed every single time. Every single day, the scale's not going to drop. Every single week, the scale's not going to drop. You're not going to be absolutely nailing it every single time, but you get better at it, right? So you actually get to a point where you're like, okay, well, that wasn't working. I'm going to fix that. That wasn't working. I'm going to fix that. I don't know what's not working. I'm going to get some help and fix it, right? Absolutely the same when it comes to your goals. If you're trying something and you're trying to succeed at something and you haven't got there yet and you're failing over and over and over, that just means you're getting somewhere. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that you're a failure, that you're stuck being a failure forever. That's not at all what it's about. It simply means that you're trying, that you're getting somewhere, that you're actually a step ahead of the game of everybody else because you're actually doing something about it, right? And this is really important because I know for so many people, it's something that we totally miss. I'm going to try and actually find some shade because I can tell I'm going to get sunburnt really quickly. But I don't want to hang out here with the wash. It's all right. I might just give this a go. See how we are. All right. Cool. We've got fake turf here, right? So fake grass. And I'm convinced it's probably a little bit wet. So, whatever. I'll deal with that later, right? But at least I'm semi-comfy for a little bit. Should have brought my tripod down, actually. That would have been a good idea, Anna. That would have been a good idea. But it's upstairs, and I'm not going to be bothered doing that now. All right, so back to what I was saying. Unfortunately, failing is one of those things that, and this is a really important point, so tune into this one and maybe even write this down somewhere because this is something that when I realised it was kind of huge. So I think it might be something that really hits home with you. Let me know. Let me know if you think so. Hit like if you agree and if this resonates with you, right? So we are taught from a very young age that failure is a bad thing, right? Anytime you fail something, you get taught that this is bad, that this is a reflection of your character, that this is a reflection of a trait in you, a characteristic in you that is bad. So this gets drummed into us from a very young age, first of all, when we're little and we're trying to learn new things like walking or whatever. Like obviously nobody tells us off for tripping over the first time we try and stand up and walk. But we do get encouraged very much so that we need to do this thing that's actually the right thing, right? And that's actually, in that way, I guess it's good because we do get encouraged to try again, right? So you get up, you fall over, your parents love you anyway, and you keep going and you keep trying. And that's really important to understand that at that point already, you failed, like you stood up, you tried to stand up, you tried to take a walk, and you toppled over like a loser. And instead of telling you that you're a loser, your parents just got really excited and clapped for you and encouraged you to try it again, right? And so you did it. And so you did it again and again. And eventually you took that step, and then you took another step, and then you were walking, and then you were running. And if someone had stood there at the beginning when you started and you tried to get up and you fell over and said, well, that was fucked up, you completely screwed that up, I wouldn't try that again, that's embarrassing, you really failed at that. Like, what the hell, where would you be now? What exactly do you think you would have achieved by now, right? But unfortunately, that doesn't last very long. That's all really cute and well at the beginning. And then it just doesn't last. We get to a point very quickly where we get into school. And in school, failing is not encouraged, right? So if you fail a test, that's a bad thing. If you fail an exam, if you fail an assessment, if you fail a subject, if you fail an actual, like a whole subject, well, fail enough of those and you're going to get held back. You're actually going to have to repeat year levels. I don't personally know many people that have had to do that, so I don't actually know if that's a real thing or if that was just something they used to scare us with. I've never actually known anyone to have repeated a year level for any reason other than, say, being away for like half the year traveling with their family or something. But yeah, so that I never even knew if that was a real thing. But even if it was, the fear of failure was right there. That, well, if you don't do well on this test, then you might not get the marks to get, the right grades, and then you might fail this test, or you might fail this subject, or whatever it is. And it was such a bad thing. It was such a bad thing. There was nothing to be learned from it, except that you'd have to just do it again. And it was never put in a positive spin, right? So it's ingrained in us from a very young age. And, we go to school for however many hours a day it is. And we get that reminder constantly that failing is bad. You don't want to fail. You want to pass everything. You want to ace everything, right? So as soon as we get that in our head, that failing is really, really bad, it translates into everything else we do. So into the extracurricular activities that we might want to do. We think that anytime we fail at that, if we try something and we're not good at it, or we continue to fail at it or whatever, there comes a point where we draw the line, right? So we say, okay, I'm going to try this and I'm going to try it over and over and over. And if I keep failing for the next 15 or 20 or whatever tries, or the next 3 months or the next 4 months, and if I haven't got that goal at that time, then I'm going to consider a failure and I'm done and I move on. The problem with that is that it's not really a goal for you. It's not really something that you want, honestly and truly, because if it was something that you wanted really, really badly, you would never set a time frame on it. You would just be like, well, I just keep doing this until I get what I want. As simple as that. It's the same with anything, any big success that you want in life, whether it's relationship, whether it's a career, whether it's you're an entrepreneur, you're running your own business and you're building up your own business, and that's a tough one, right? Whether it's your health and fitness, you don't set a goal as much as, having a goal in mind, especially when it's like fitness related. Say you want to lose X amount of kilos or fit into this X size clothing by a particular date, as much as that's helpful, it also sets you up for that feeling of, well, either you're going to succeed or fail, right? And if you fail, you've already set yourself up that is the end, that is failure, that if you are not in that size clothing for that event that you said you wanted to be, then you failed and basically you give up on everything, as opposed to see the progress you've made and keep going towards the goal, right? Because that's the whole part of failure, is it's just a way to teach you what hasn't worked so you can keep going and keep working at it until it does. Because here's the magical thing, right? You only need it to work once, right? You only need to succeed. You only need to get the goal that you want once. And even if it's a big goal, like, to fit into a particular size clothing or to get a particular job or whatever, you only need to get it once, right? You only need that one interview where you blow the person away and you land your dream job. You only need that one time where you can basically say, well, that's it. I've now, I've hit the big time in terms of my business. Or you only need that one time that you can go, yep, I've achieved this goal. Even though it's a continuous goal and it's something that you're probably going to keep working towards, it only needs to happen once and then it's done. And that's the problem with not realizing that failing is a part of it, is that, well, there's going to be heaps of failures along the way. There's going to be heaps of lessons along the way. And there's going to be lots and lots of times where you go, well, that didn't work, that didn't work, that didn't work. I have literally just failed over and over and over. How many more times can I do this? Well, as many as it takes. As many as it takes. And the moment you get it out of your head that failing is the enemy, that failing at something is the end, then it's just a new beginning for you. It's all in your head, beautiful. It is so all in your head, this idea that there's a way of making it, and it has to be like this, and it has to be this, and putting all these rules around how this goal is going to come into play. When you do that, the problem is you close off all the other options. Like if you think about any goal that you have, think about your biggest goal right now, and think about the way that you think you're going to achieve it right now. Yeah? So you kind of have an idea in your head of the steps and the way that it's going to happen and how it's going to work out, right? But take a moment again and just think about that big goal again. Think about the actual end goal, the actual end result, the scenario that you're in, how you feel, what it means to you, basically what the actual goal is deep inside. And then I want you to think, well, is there any other way that this could happen? Like actually any other way? Let me give you an example, right? Say your goal is, I want to lose 10 kilos, right? And you have in your mind, you already have the steps, you have an idea of how you're going to eat, you have an idea of how you're going to exercise, all that kind of stuff. And so that's your plan, right? And so that's kind of what you think you can either fail or succeed at. But if you think about losing 10 kilos, is there any other way in the world that 10 kilos can be lost without this diet plan and without this exercise regime? Yeah, there is. I mean, there's obviously all the stupid answers about, getting lipo or cutting off a limb or whatever, obviously. But then there's also just the fact that there's that many different ways you can be eating, that many different ways you can be exercising, the fact that you don't even have to exercise to be losing weight, right? There's so many other options. And if you've just locked in that, well, it's either this or nothing, then all you're going to find is either one way to succeed or one way to fail. But if you've locked it down that this is it, there's only this, and there's no other way, there's no other things to try to basically make it a success, well, then you're done. As soon as it doesn't work, you've given up, right? It's not just another stepping stone. And that's the thing to realize. Failure is always there on the way to success. If your goals are really tiny and crappy, well, then you wouldn't be really listening to this anyway. But if your goals are really tiny and crappy, well, then you don't really need to put in much effort, and your goals are going to be pretty easy to achieve regardless. So failure is probably not going to be an issue for you because your goals are so mediocre that what the fuck does it even matter if you fail at them, right? It doesn't matter. I'm talking about full-on goals. I'm talking about the serious stuff, the things that really light up your soul, light up your heart, light up your life, right? That kind of stuff. Whatever that is, you're going to get there as long as you keep working at it and as long as you accept that failure is just not an option long term. Success is the only motherfucking option, right? One of my favourite lines from Eminem, right? Success is my only motherfucking option, failure's not. And that's exactly it. Like, you can fail as many times as you want, that's fine, as many times as you need, in fact. Don't even make it about want. It's just what needs to happen needs to happen. The lessons you need to learn along the way are the lessons you need to learn along the way. And I'm sorry that for some people it's going to take longer than others, quite simply. And that sucks. And hey, I'm with you there. I've learned a lot of lessons very slowly and continue to learn them and continue to achieve success, slower than some other people. And whatever, like I'm in it for the long haul, so it doesn't really matter to me. I'm doing what I love over and over constantly. So therefore, however long it takes is however long it takes. But accepting that, just falling flat on my face and having failures and having to pick myself up and keep going and just brush it off and keep going and brush it off and keep going and fall over again and brush it off and keep going again is just part of it. Well, then success is inevitable, right? Because eventually, one way or another, it's going to get there. It's going to get to where my big goals are, which obviously just keep growing bigger every single time a new door kind of opens. Every time you get a new level, you suddenly realize, well, that was even short of what I wanted, right? But the point is, if you give up, if you actually let failure be a guide as to whether something is or isn't your dream, your big goal, well, then come the first fail, you're probably going to give up, or the second, or the third, or maybe the 20th, or maybe the 50th. But hey, guess what? You don't know when that success is coming. You don't get to decide that. So you might give up at the 50th without knowing that the 51st was going to work. Or you might give up at the 175th time, not knowing that the 176th time was going to work. So you've got to decide, is this something you really want for the long haul, regardless however many times it takes you to fail, regardless how many times you have to do a detour, regardless how many times you have to rethink how you're going. Are you still going to do it? Are you still going to work for it? Are you still going to make it happen? Or are you just looking to basically give it a time frame and just move on and not actually pay attention to the fact that failing, completely messing it up, not even coming close to what you want, all of that is part of it. All of that is part of the steps to success. Success is not a hop, skip, and a week to the end goal, right? You don't get to decide that, well, I've decided now I'm going to be a success and this is my goal, and in a week's time it's going to be there. Look, it might happen. Your powers of manifestation might be fantastic. But chances are, if it hasn't happened yet, then maybe your powers aren't as incredible as that. And I know very few people, in fact, no people that are that incredible at manifesting, especially when you're already at a lower level. When you're at a really high level and you've already manifested, incredible things into your life, for sure, it gets easier. It's like, it's a pendulum effect, right? But don't for a second think that those people that are just getting awesome stuff happening in their life over and over, on repeat, over and over, got there in a second. They got there through more failures than you could ever imagine, more failures than you're probably comfortable to accept that you're going to have to accept to get there, basically. And that's it. It's just, look, that's the reality. You can like it or you can not like it, and you can agree with me or not, and that's fine. You don't have to. Free world, right? Well, for most of us. So you don't have to accept that. That's fine. You can go do whatever, and if you choose to believe that, no, well, if it doesn't work exactly the way that I wanted it to work, that it's just not going to happen, it's whatever. And that's fine. That's your belief, and you go do accordingly as you wish with it. But if you're serious about wanting something and you're getting pulled back because you're thinking, well, how many more failures can I take? How many more times can I be brought back down? How many more times can I put my heart and soul and everything into this and still not get what I want? That is part of it. You don't get to decide how long it's going to take. You don't get to decide exactly all the steps that are needed to get there. You just need to keep working on it, keep working on it, keep working on it until it takes however long it takes. And realizing that the hard stuff, the failing over and over, the feeling like you're getting nowhere, the wanting to quit because you're so emotionally and physically and everything psychologically drained, that's part of it. And it's that stuff that differentiates the people that actually do make a success of their dreams and their big goals, and the people who just fall by the wayside. And, there's a graveyard full of dreams everywhere of people who said they want this is what they want their life to be. But at some stage they decided, well, no, I give up. This is too hard. I failed too many times. So, you're not in... you definitely got plenty of company if that's the road you choose to go down on. But I really hope you don't. I really hope that you realise and accept and choose to believe that if you continue, if you pick yourself up, if you keep going, there is no other option than success. Failure will eventually give way to success if you beat it down enough. But if the idea that at some point too much is too much, that you're basically... The problem with that mindset, and this is one more thing I'm going to say before I finish up because I don't want to get off onto too many tangents, but the thing with having that mindset of, well, I'll give it 6 months, I'll give it this, I'll give it however long, is that you've basically set yourself up for a timeline of failure, not a timeline of success. I know you think that you're giving yourself a timeline of success, like you're saying, I've got this long to, make this happen. But really deep down, the way that your even subconscious and unconscious and your fears are acting is to basically say, I'm not good enough for this goal. If by any chance something happens and I can prove that wrong in the next 6 months, then great. But I don't believe that I can. So I'm setting this limit because then at least I can feel good in saying, well, I gave it 6 months. I gave my everything for that 6 months and it didn't work. So I had to let it go, right? And it's a defense mechanism that we have. And we are so good at defense mechanisms of making our own excuses and making up our own bullshit so that we make ourselves feel better, right? I'm as guilty of this as anyone in the past. And now still, I have to pick myself up on it because I find myself saying shit like that sometimes as well. And I know that it's just crap, right? But that's a problem, is like I said, you're giving yourself that time frame. You think you're setting yourself up with a huge goal for success, which when in reality, you're just setting yourself up a time frame for failure with a nice, handy little justification as to why why it didn't work, right? Because you have it all set up that, well, I gave it everything for that 6 months and it didn't work, so I had to let it go. Whereas the idea of having to just keep doing it and keep picking yourself up and failing and picking yourself up and failing and picking yourself up over and over and over, well, it scares most of us, right? And this is what separates those that become a success from those who don't, quite simply, right? I'm going to leave it there. I'd love to know what you think of what I've just been saying. Does this hit home to you? And does it give you some food for thought? And what do you think? Are you in it for the long haul? Are you going to be a success? Are you going to pick yourself up as many times as it takes? I'd like to know, right? So I'll leave that there. I want to make sure, if you have not yet heard about my If It Fits Your Macros and flexible dieting, flexible eating workshop that's happening online, and this is now next weekend, Sunday 5th of March, right? So 4 till 6 p.m, it's going to be online through a private Facebook group. This is for those that do decide that your success is going to happen regardless, especially, obviously this is in terms of your health and fitness and your body goals and that kind of stuff, which, as you know, I consider very, very important because I think you have to look after this vessel that you've been given, and you deserve to have the absolute hottest, most amazing vessel that you want, basically. So the workshop is for those of you that have decided that success is your only motherfucking option, and that regardless, you're going to get there and you're going to keep working at it. This is the long term. So this is not the quick fix solution. This is not the 2-week diet plan that's guaranteed to make you starve. This is for you if you want to get that dream body, or actually just whatever body you want, really, and actually maintain it long term. Get there and keep it for the rest of your life, happily eating the food that you like, not cutting anything out, not having to cut out carbs, not having to cut out fat, not having to, binge on whatever because you're telling yourself this is a bad food, this is a good food, I can only eat clean food, all that kind of stuff. If you're ready to actually get some balance, be able to incorporate normal food, whatever you want, into your daily life as much as you want, then this is the plan for you. Because the whole premise of If It Fits Your Macros is that your macronutrients, your proteins, your fats, your carbohydrates, which is what all your food is made up of, well, you can actually eat, regardless whether you're eating that from your carbohydrates from some potato and some rice, or whether you're eating it from pasta or from the donut, it will not matter to your body. It will still process it exactly the same way, and therefore there is no reason for you to be sabotaging yourself and telling yourself that you're not allowed to have all this food when, quite frankly, you can get as lean and as sexy and as whatever you want, still eating foods that you enjoy and maintaining it, more importantly, because at the end of the day, look, you might be able to maintain that clean eating chicken and broccoli and rice diet for as long as your willpower will last out, but then what, right? Are you going to eat that the rest of your life? No, probably not. If you are, good for you. Cool. Keep doing you, right? But if you're not, if you actually want to have some kind of variety in your life, then this is why you need to attend this workshop, because we are going to teach you, by we I mean me, teach you to actually take control of your own eating, get some knowledge about what's going into your body, how to plan it out, how to work it out, how to make it actually work for you and for your goals long term. And you actually get 1 week of additional support as well. So after the online workshop, if you can't make it live, don't worry, still sign up, because you will get the replay of the workshop straight away once it's done. So you can watch it, and even if you watch it live, you can watch it as many times as you want. You'll have that replay for life. But then you do get a full week as well of support in the Facebook group to basically ask me any questions that you have, right? So as you're planning it out, as you're working out your new diet plan, your new eating plan, you can actually ask me throughout the week through Facebook constantly any questions that you have about how to implement it, what foods to do, get my opinion on daily plans that you've worked out, that kind of stuff. Which is absolutely incredible, because that's the hardest part, is a lot of the time people will be like, oh yeah, this is awesome, I'm going to do this plan, and then they kind of let it go for a couple of days, and then they kind of get confused again and forget and just don't bother. So this is about actually holding you accountable, getting you started, and giving you the support to keep you going, right? So make sure, if you want to get onto that quickly, because it's next weekend, next Sunday. Again, like I said, if you can't make it on the live workshop, don't stress, still register, because you're going to be able to get the replay as soon as it's done, so that's fine. And yeah, www.annabrooks.com.au/IIFYM, if it fits your macros, is what that stands for. And jump on there, you can check out the different, so you can just register for the workshop, or there's a VIP option, which gives you another 3 weeks of additional support. So that's 4 full weeks after the online workshop, which is more than enough time to seriously just absolutely blitz through this and know exactly what you're doing. So it's going to be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to do it with you guys. Jump on there, let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.